Well, how about it, y'all? This is Daniel Nicholson with Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. Today we're in the shed. That's because it is a nasty day here in South Carolina. Between last night and today, we've gotten probably close to 4 inches of rain. Everything is super wet. All the creeks and streams around us is flooded, and the wind is howling. We actually had some tornado warnings earlier today, so I wanted to get out with the animals today and make a video. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen because it's just so wet out there. So I figured we take the time to sit in the shed and talk about our goals that we have for 2023 coming up. It's going to be a big year, hopefully. We want to just continue on the trend that we're on and growing our little small farm / homestead, growing the YouTube channel, and making a name for ourselves in our local community. So last year I did 22 goals for 2022. So I figured this year we'd do the same thing and do 23 goals for 2023. And actually I wrote this list yesterday in probably about 10 minutes. It didn't take long at all. I had a lot of things on my mind already that I wanted to accomplish, so I just jotted them down on paper. A lot of it's infrastructure things. There's just different small things that's going to make differences every day while we're taking care of the animals or the garden or whatever. I've been struggling here in the past couple months finding time, and whenever I'm pushed against time I get stressed, and just finding the joy in what I'm doing has become an issue. So I want to kind of make everything a little bit easier in the afternoon so I can get back to enjoying taking care of the animals and all the things we do around here. So I figured we'll just go through the list, talk about them, and see how it's going to benefit our farm and some of the ways that we're going to accomplish these goals. So like I said, it's a lot of infrastructure, and the first 6 are all infrastructure. Just going to make our lives a whole lot easier. The first of which is probably going to be the first thing that gets done this year, and hopefully, knock on wood, it's going to happen this weekend, is put water lines in our pastures. We're going to be running water lines all the way from pretty much my parents' house all the way to the highway where our smaller barn is, up where the pigs are now. Just hauling water takes a lot of time every afternoon, and putting these water lines in and putting troughs throughout the pasture is going to save a lot of time, and it's also going to allow us to rotate our animals a little more efficiently. We can segregate our little pastures with polywire better because we have water troughs and spigots in different points down the fence line. So it's going to be a huge addition to our operation. We're also going to put one water line back behind the shed here. We're going to be moving our water trough out of our little catch pen area. Just try to control the mud and the nasty mess where animals are just congregated around the water troughs. Another thing around the water troughs I want to do, I kind of just tied all this into one, but we're going to put an apron around all the water troughs. We're going to put some cloth down and put some rock on top so these areas just aren't a muddy mess and a cesspool for bacteria. The second goal we have is something that we meant to do last year, but that is to add our lean-to off the back of our shed here. We're going to be adding a 13 by 57 lean-to off the back of the shed, about 15 by 13, I think. Will be addition to the barn where the animals have access. The rest of it's going to be just storage, a little cooking area out back, and hopefully eventually a place for a walk-in cooler and possibly a walk-in freezer whenever hopefully we get to the point where we're selling some meat or keeping some meat on hand. That's going to be nice. We're going to have a nice area where we can process animals undercover and not actually have to be in here in the shed. My mom is ready to kick us out. She does not like us cutting up meat and all the good things that we do with that inside the shed. It's just a mess. The third thing is, once we get our lean-to put up, I want to start building our working pens. I want to build a nice setup where I can work all the goats pretty much by myself. I want to have a tub where I can put about 10 or 12 goats and lead them straight down an alleyway or a chute, single wide chute, to this one area where I'm going to be building. I've got all the metal for it, but I'm going to be welding together a flip table where we can flip the animals over on their side, trims their hooves. I can squeeze them, deworm them. I want to have a scale underneath it, and after they get done with that, I want to have several sorting gates where I can sort animals by myself, whether they're going to keep going up the chute onto the trailer or into several different little holding spots. I've got it all drawn out somewhat of what I want. It's just getting the time and the materials together to build that, but we need our lean-to first. Fourth, something that I really wanted to do last year and something that is really needed is build another rabbit hutch. It's a small thing, but it'll probably take a couple of days to do. But I want to build another 4-bay rabbit hutch just like we have. That way we can have about 6 does that we're breeding. 6 does and 2 bucks, I feel like would be the perfect number for us. I really want to increase the amount of baby rabbits we're producing, trying to sell those and also putting some in the freezer as well. Number 5, we want to cross fence our big pasture up front. We have a lot of paddock divisions already. A lot of our pastures are broken up to about 1 acre pastures, but we still have one that's still about 2.5, close to 3 acres. I want to split that pasture in half just to help us rotate our animals a little better, be able to control our parasite load and also save our grass a little bit better. Sixth goal on the infrastructure is up in the same pasture. I want to plant several trees. I'm looking at planting sawtooth oaks. They're a pretty decent sized tree that'll grow pretty quick. We really need some more shade in our pastures if we're going to start doing some pasture rotation. So I really want to go ahead and plant some trees now. The best day to plant a tree was 25 years ago, so I guess tomorrow is the next best day. So we're going to be trying to plant some trees as soon as possible, and hopefully in a couple years we can benefit from the shade off of those. Our next little section of goals is all about the goats. In our last video, I mentioned that we just picked up another acre of land to use right up the road. It's going to be a free lease pretty much as long as we want it. It's an elderly lady that my mom's been friends with for a long time, and she said we're welcome to use it as long as we want. So, like I said, it's right at 1 acre, a little bit more, and it's got net wire fence on it already. But we need to get that fence ready to go for some goats. There is a gentleman that has 2 steers in it right now. He will be processing those steers in the next month or so. So as soon as those steers come out, we have access to it, and we really need to get those fences in repair so that we can move some animals up there and take a little bit of pressure off of our grasses here. Number 8 I put on here is utilize the neighbor's pasture a little bit better. For those that's been watching our videos for a while, the neighbors have about 23 acres right here beside us that they're not using. They've got it fenced off, and they actually turned the rest of the pasture into a row crop field. So they have been generous enough to let us run the goats out there. Pretty much in the afternoons, I opened the gate. I actually installed a gate last year so we can move the goats there a little bit easier. But they let us put the goats out there in the afternoons. They stay out there for a couple hours, and we bring them back in. I have reached out to the family before and asked if they wanted to lease the land. They did not seem too interested in it, and I know they watched some of our videos, so I hope I'm not stepping on any toes because I'm very grateful to be able to use the land. But I'd really like to get with them and talk about some possibilities. Really running 1 strand of hot wire around that pasture would be a huge benefit. Now that I'm living in town, I can't just let them out and go to the house and just come back down here, you know, being 2-3 minutes down the road. Now I'm about 10 minutes down the road. I really don't feel comfortable leaving the animals out for a long period of time when I'm not as close as I used to be. So that's a big goal. I'm gonna be hopefully reaching out to them and talking to them about that as a possibility. Number 9, I really want to start culling harder and get to a good about 50 doe herd. In the past, 2 years, we have picked up, about 3 acres we can use, but we really haven't found any significant land to run goats on. So I really want to concentrate on about 50 does. That's pretty much what we can handle here on the property that we have. I really want to concentrate on building a good, strong herd. So one day, when we do find some more land to run some goats on, we've got a good, strong base. We're going to be looking at things for parasites, resistance, good hooves, good teat structure, 1x1 teats, good moms, just a lot of different things over hopefully the next year, 2 years. I really kind of want to refine our goat herd and get some animals that I'm really happy with. I really would like to get to 2 to 3 day moves on our pastures. That's not necessarily an acre, but I want to start using our poly wire and poly rope a little bit more, and I'd really like to get where we're rotating our animals about every 2 to 3 days to really kind of break up that parasite load and really focus on growing some better forages in our pastures. And that's just going to come with time. I actually I haven't shared this on the channel either, but I put in for a grant through the NRCS to try to get some cost share money on some fencing materials, or temporary fencing materials. Still waiting to hear if that's going to come through. Don't know for sure, but either way, I want to get started really rotating these goats and actually the horses and the steers that we're going to be getting pretty soon as well. I really want to work to rotate all those animals together, so we're really resting some grass and starting to grow some good forages. Next, I would like to get a livestock guardian dog this year. Something I've kind of put off. I've been keeping my eyes out for a good, not necessarily a good deal, but a good opportunity. I want a dog that's already trained and something that's not going to rob the bank, but also that is a good animal that I can bring onto the farm that's going to get along with our dogs, but also I can keep with the goats and keep them safe. This new property up the road, there is a house right beside it, but nobody lives in it. So I really would feel a whole lot more comfortable with a guardian dog up there. And honestly, that piece of property, I'm thinking about taking the bucks up there and leaving them. And it'd be nice to have a dog that can just stay with the bucks, and I wouldn't have to worry about them. Moving on, we'll go on to the pigs. Number 12 is I need to build 2 farrowing pens. We plan on breeding pigs very soon, so I need to build some pens that I can catch a sow up in and have a spot where piglets can get out of the way, so the mom is not as likely to roll over on top of them. Also with the pigs, number 13, I'd really like to increase the access we have to our pig pens from the outside of the pasture. The pig pens back up to our perimeter fence right by the highway, and there's a couple logs and trees that need to be cleaned up to do this. But I'd really like to be able to pull my vehicle up to that fence to unload feed and things like that, so we're not driving through the pasture as much and compacting our ground. I would like to finish our old pig pen. That's the only section of pig pen that I have not finished with our 2-strand electric. There's room in there for 2 more little lots, so I want to go ahead and get that finished this year. And I really want to start selling whole and half hogs this year. It's something that we tried to do last year, but we're going to be working closely with our processor and getting some dates, and hopefully start advertising soon on selling whole and half hogs. On top of that, I would like to raise 2 sets of pigs this year, 2 litters out of 2 different sows. And also we want to, I put it by the pigs just because I guess meat, but we're planning to raise 2 steers this year. For the past 2 years we've just done 1, but this year I think we're going to try to do 2, and we're going to be selling the second one as a whole and half. So something we're excited about. I didn't really have a lot for the garden this year, but we do want to kind of start doing a no-till system. This late fall we planted winter peas in our garden, and they're coming up all right. I don't think we got them quite thick enough. I keep glancing at them right now, but I don't think we got them quite thick enough for the canopy cover that we want. But we really haven't had any good sunny days either, so I feel like that stuff is going to jump eventually. It's starting to fill in, but we really like to terminate that and plant through that this year and kind of slowly start going into a no-till operation on the garden. I'd really want to add some organic material into the garden. This ground that we're using has been a garden for a long time, and my dad likes to use old agricultural practices for his plowing and spraying in the garden, and it's not a lot of organic material out there, and I really want to focus on putting some good stuff back into the soil. Flip the page, we're on number 18, so number 19, kind of dwindling it down, get into some more of the serious stuff. But I'd really like to have an overall farm profit this coming year. That means the garden pays for itself, the pigs pay for themselves, the goats, the cow, everything pays for itself. So whenever we add it up all at the end of the year, everything had made money. That is really the goal. If we're ever going to keep expanding, we have got to get where this farm is paying for itself in pretty much all the areas. Even though we're kind of diversified by the different things we do, one thing can cover the other over time. We really need all of them to work together to create a profit. So that kind of leads us into goal number 20, is having a self-sustaining farm bank account. That means the money that I spend on the farm is not coming out of my pocket anymore. We want to have its own bank account where it's paying for itself. The farm grows as the bank account grows. and hopefully it can start paying me as an employee. Going into the last 3 goals is kind of tied into the YouTube thing, but we really want to continue to post, 2 to 3 videos a week. I think last year we did 2 videos pretty much every week of the year, except for maybe 3. So that's something we're going to do this year. But I also want to start uploading my videos to Facebook. I think Facebook can, offer a couple other opportunities than YouTube does. It might be a whole different group of people that'll watch the Facebook videos for as age and all that good stuff. So really reach out to some more people. I've got a lot of videos on YouTube already that I need to upload on Facebook, and at one point I was trying to upload a video a day just to catch up, but I just need to dump them all in there. And we upload on YouTube on Tuesday and Thursday, so we could upload the same videos on Facebook on Wednesday and Friday, just kind of alternate it. Just something that I think we could benefit from, eventually getting monetized off of Facebook as well. Number 22 is a big one. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit this one. Every goal on here I think is pretty achievable, but 22 is not going to happen without the help of y'all. But that is, we want to hit 5,000 subscribers this year. Right now we're right at 1,500, and we are blessed to have that many. I really appreciate everybody that's hitting that subscribe button. It means a lot to us. But at the end of the day, I would like to have more subscribers. It help us out a lot. A lot of the revenue that's going to come off their YouTube channel is just going to go straight back into the farm bank account and to help supplement the growth of our farm. So 5,000 subscribers would help us out a ton, and we're going to do our part and upload videos, hopefully entertaining and educational videos for all of y'all to hit the subscribe button. And like I said, it'd mean a lot to us. Number 23 is something that we had on the goals last year, and I talked about it in our last video when we went over 2022 goals. But that is hats and shirts. We do have a Cricut and a heat press where we make our own shirts, and we've done subscriber giveaways, and we've got our own shirts for us close friends and family. But we would like to get to the point where we're starting to make enough shirts to actually be able to sell. This year, whenever I talk to my accountant guy, I need to sit down and talk to him about all the rules and stuff when it comes to the taxes on selling shirts and hats into different states. So we can make the shirts, starting off. I don't think we'll be selling a whole lot, so I think we can keep up with it. But the hats we're gonna have to get somebody to make, and hats are not cheap to make, so that's something I definitely want to try. I know I've been wanting a Nicholson Farm hat for a long time, so maybe we'll get some made soon and hopefully start to offer those. But we are super excited about 2023. I really think we have the opportunity in front of us to take the next step. It's going to be a big year. We've got a lot going on, and honestly, I could have kept going on with this list, but I figured I'd cut it off there. We're going to do our best to capture everything as we go. In 2023, me and Maddie are going to become parents as well. So it's going to be a huge year for sure. Something that we're super excited about, and something that we hope we can share on YouTube and capture our whole journey. But I really appreciate you hanging out and listening to all our goals. I hope everybody has some goals for 2023. It's not really a resolution, any of these goals, because I'm not trying to change who I am or what I'm doing. I'm just trying to expand on it. So goals are the word for it. It's not resolutions. But I really appreciate you hanging out with us. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, and we'll see y'all on the next one.